What's up, Space Cadets? And yes, I am calling you Space Cadets now, and here's why. It's gender neutral, it makes us all astronauts, and it capitalizes on the fact that I space out for a living. And also, space is cool, so. You're gonna have to excuse the lighting that we have in here because I now live in a cave with fluorescent lights above me and a pipe and a vent that goes off every 10 minutes and all sorts of lovely mysterious noises and things that go bump in the middle of the night. So we're all adjusting. So for those of you who don't know, I went to Catholic school for 12 years, which is quite a long period of time to go to Catholic school for. And if you know anyone that went to Catholic school that long, they probably turned out a little something like me, which is not necessarily a good thing. For some examples, here are a list of celebrities that happen to have attended Catholic school. I'll let you draw your own conclusions as to the similarities and differences between all of these people. In my mind, all these people are incredibly talented and funny, but at the same time, they all emanate this aura of pain and suffering. They make all these jokes, but internally their eyes are screaming, "Help me," because they're that dead inside. Catholic school does that to you. I did my thesis about Catholics and witchcraft, so I know a little bit about that, probably. So if you know anyone that went to Catholic school, give them a hug and tell them that you're very sorry about the way that their life turned out, because it's more than likely that they're still suffering from their martyrdom complex, and probably will be for the rest of their life. The good news is that we are through the heart of that pain and suffering, and I now have a ton of weird stories that I can share with complete strangers on the internet. Strangers like you. So without further ado, let's get started with that. So at my Catholic school, like any other Catholic school, we wore uniforms, and up until 5th grade, it was like this little jumper with a little blouse. You had to wear socks that cover your ankles because ankles are of the devil and all that kind of nonsense. So we had this big, ugly rule book of things that you weren't supposed to do with your uniforms, things you can't wear, and blah, 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 blah. But over the years, I learned that big, ugly rule books often have some terrible loopholes. So the rule book said, you know, like ankle socks have to cover your ankles. However, the rule book said nothing about arm socks. So my 7th and 8th grade year, I wore these rainbow arm socks around my arms in my damnedest attempt to stick it to the man. Also because I was definitely that hyper scene kid that annoyed everyone at school. But these are still awesome. I'd go out in public wearing these. Part 2 of that was that they had a rule against headbands, like your headband couldn't be a certain width, and my friend got in trouble for that all the time. She always had these headbands that were really thick because she wanted to keep most of her hair back. And it was like a stupid, like, distracting headband rule, but I started wearing these every day. And I'd call these pretty distracting in retrospect, and I have no idea how I got away with wearing these every day. But I sure did, and honestly, this is a look. I'd go out in public like this. This is cool. I don't know how I got away with that one. I think maybe they just decided that I was a lost cause and I was gonna do whatever I wanted anyway. I think also because I had been the quiet kid for most of my existence there and really hadn't gotten in any trouble, and the whiplash kind of shocked everyone so badly that they could do absolutely nothing to stop my reign of terror. So that was the story of how I dressed like a manic pixie dream girl every day through 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So in our school, like any other school, we would take like class field trips, and going to an overnight field trip was the most exciting thing that could possibly happen to you, right? The big trip that everyone looked forward to going to was at the aquarium. So we'd all go to the aquarium, we were so excited. Middle school boys and girls overnight at the aquarium, which sounds like a terrible, terrible idea. But obviously they were gonna split us up in groups and stuff. However, the employees at the aquarium made us play this vicious Hunger Games-esque game, basically. I think it was some kind of scavenger hunt. I honest to goodness can't even remember. Anyways, they pitted the boys and girls against one another to determine who was gonna sleep in the shark hallway, like the big shark tank. It was one of those aquariums that has, like, you can walk under and see all the sharks. Who was gonna sleep there, and who was gonna sleep, like, in the regular, like, fish tank area, just straight up in the fish tank. By, like, marginal fractions of inches, the boys ended up winning, which was vastly disappointing. However, before the evening festivities concluded, we all had like a pizza party in the cafeteria area, and all of the boys started dumping sugar in their Mountain Dew. So just imagine about like 60 to 80 middle school kids hyped up on sugar and Mountain Dew, and that's about where we were at when this party got started. So we mostly heard about this kind of in passing because we weren't there to witness this, but apparently the boys started running up and down the halls in the middle of the night, trying to get into areas that they shouldn't have, and some of the girls I think broke out of their own area and then started running down the halls. I was asleep for this because once again I was not a cool kid, but that morning we found out that the aquarium was banning us and we got banned from the aquarium, and that was like a thing, like all school, like you looked forward to 6th grade because you got to go to that aquarium trip and we just got banned. So one of the most iconic features of my school was this gummy bear that was stuck on the cafeteria ceiling from the time that I was in kindergarten, like all the way through 7th or 8th grade. I vividly recall the day that it was gone, as if someone had taken it down from the ceiling or it had, God forbid, fallen on someone. So this gummy bear, it was a green gummy bear, and it stuck to the cafeteria ceiling, like right above the lunch table that me and my friends would always sit at. Guys had taken to like licking gummy bears and like propelling them up onto the ceiling to try to see if they could get another one to stick like that. And a couple of them were successful in getting 1 or 2 to stick to the ceiling. I don't know how these young kids were throwing gummy bears so violently, like projectiles, that they stuck onto the ceiling, but we sure were. So there were like 1 or 2 stuck at a time. They eventually fell down, but the green one, the good old green gummy bear, would not fail us. Until one day, I think we came back from summer break and it was gone, and that was honestly one of the worst days of my life. That was really the first time that I learned that everything in life is temporary and all of your dreams will eventually leave you. It's this green gummy bear. So if we're gonna talk about handbooks and martyrdom complexes in Catholic school, then I think I'm obligated to tell this story right now. The year that Uggs got popular, we were in like 6th grade, I believe, and it was cold, you know, winter out, and I think we were allowed to wear leggings under our skirts, but we might not have been allowed to, and I will get back to you on that one, but I probably won't get back to you on it because I'll forget. Uggs were really popular and all these girls wanted to wear their Uggs to school. And they were cool, so they were all in a text chain with each other, and Uggs deliberately got added to the handbook as something that you were not supposed to wear. Maybe because I kept finding so many loopholes in the handbook. Regardless, these girls in this text chain, like they sent out this mass text that was basically like, they can't stop all of us, wear your Uggs tomorrow, take it to the man. And so all these girls came in wearing Uggs, and everything was normal for the first half of the day until we get to about lunchtime. They rang these little bells to like make announcements to tell you that you can go back to class, like a physical handbell, not like a bell over a speaker. I'm talking like a physical bell, like we were cattle. And they herded all of the girls to the library because the principal wanted to have a conversation with them. It was like me and my friend and a couple other unpopular people that hadn't even received this text that were allowed to just go to class, but because there were only about 5 of us, we just sat there wondering what was going on. So all these girls got herded into the library to have a discussion with our principal, and the principal at the time, you could always tell how angry she was because her nose would turn purple, so you could always tell how much trouble you were in by how purple that her nose got. So she rings the bell and we start seeing her make this announcement about who needs to stay after and go to the library with her, and her nose is like in the dark maroons, so we know that shit is about to hit the fan. And then me and my other friends are excused, so we're just sitting there waiting. So what I heard later went on is that they all basically stood in this line in the library while the principal reprimanded them about wearing Uggs and like had to know who was responsible for this nonsense. And none of them were talking, right? Because they're doing what they should in a proper uprising, and they're not selling anyone out. But the principal is getting increasingly angrier and angrier, and since I wasn't there and I'm only telling this in passing, I'm sure that her face was getting redder and redder, and she gets to the point where she's like, if nobody confesses, I'm just gonna punish everyone right now. One of my friends, or one girl, goes, I did it. And it was definitely not her. And the principal wasn't gonna buy that, because she was, again, a good quiet kid, but was just popular enough to be like associated with the other girls. Also, she was wearing Uggs, so there she was like, I did it. And, you know, gonna take the bullet for everyone else. And the principal was literally immediately like, no, it wasn't you. So then another girl comes up and is like, I did it. And the principal's like, no. And she basically just shot down anyone who said that they actually did it until I guess it landed on someone that she didn't like and thought plausibly would have done it, and then punished them, from my understanding of what happened. Because if anything Catholic school does to you, it teaches you how to be a martyr, how to constantly put the needs of others in front of yourself, for better or for fucking worse, honestly. So that was the Uggs Rising. One more last story I'm gonna tell really fast. This is a fast one. We had this bus driver for a long time who we called him Gothy Jesus because he would always wear black, and he had this like black beanie and had like a beard like we'd see on all the Jesus pictures and stuff. And we're all in Catholic school, so we're all just hearing about Jesus every day. So the only frame of reference we have for anyone is Jesus or not Jesus. And he would like smoke cigarettes before the kids got on the bus, which is like not a good thing you should do on a bus, but he wouldn't like smoke it while we were in the bus. Just the bus always smelled like smoke. So one day, we get on the bus and Gothy Jesus is not there. And so we're all asking like, well, where is he? What happened to him? Where's Gothy Jesus? I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but substitute bus drivers are always very angry. I don't know if that was the case for anyone else, but definitely for us, every substitute bus driver that I had was terrifying. So it was always not a good thing when you got a different bus driver. Anyways, we're pestering her, and right before we take off, she stands up and goes, Ed is no more! And we were all like, Ed? We had no idea his name was Ed. We just thought he was Jesus. We thought he was just Jesus Christ, the Lord himself, smoking a cigarette and driving the bus. But we were all like, what happened to him? Did he die? And she said, no, he was fired. And this kid in the back, who, by the way, was one of the reasons that we got banned from the aquarium, stands up and goes, Jesus is risen! And that was pretty iconic, honestly. That was pretty good. I have many more stories from Catholic school. I think this video is probably gonna be at least over 10 minutes now. And that's about where I wanted to cap it at. But I've got like a whole list here on my laptop that I will probably just continue going through at some point, because we didn't even get to the really good stuff, like how we had 2 fires in one day, and the time the police came to our school, and the time when we had a shooting drill and then the police officer got into our room, and we had some awkward run-ins with the law at my school. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Have a great day. Keep on flying, Space Cadets. Fly high, zone out, live your best life, live your dreams. Live your dreams.